There comes a time when you look around and realize you've outgrown everyone. Their words no longer reach you. Their laughter, once comforting, now echoes like noise in an empty hall. You sit among them, smiling, nodding, yet somewhere deep inside, you feel the distance growing wider. You used to belong, but now you simply observe. You see, my friend, there is a peculiar tragedy in awakening. When your mind begins to evolve, when you start to see the world not as you wish it to be, but as it truly is, something inside you quietly dies. It is not dramatic, no thunder, no applause, just a subtle death of illusion, and from that moment on, you can never go back to who you once were. The veil is lifted, and the world, once vibrant with meaning, now stands naked before you, cold, mechanical, indifferent. You notice the vanity in men's ambitions, the hollowness in their pleasures, the childishness in their hopes. You realize that most conversations are not exchanges of thought, but rehearsals of delusion. And as this truth crystallizes in your mind, you begin to withdraw. You stop arguing. You stop explaining. You simply fall silent. It is not arrogance, it is exhaustion. The fatigue that comes from seeing too much, feeling too deeply, thinking too far beyond the ordinary. The more intelligent a man is, I once said, the more he suffers, and I meant it. For consciousness is not a blessing, it is a burden. The clearer you see life, the harder it becomes to bear its absurdity. But here lies the paradox. This suffering, this detachment, it is also the beginning of freedom, because once illusion dies, truth takes its place. And though truth may be cold, it is real. And in a world built upon lies, to see clearly, even if it hurts, is the only form of victory left. So tell me, have you begun to feel it too? That quiet sense that you no longer belong to this world. There comes a moment, subtle and almost cruel, when you begin to see, not with the eyes, but with consciousness. It starts quietly, a discomfort, a vague sense that something is not as it seems. You notice how people talk endlessly, yet say nothing, how they chase pleasure as if it will save them, while it only exhausts them further. You begin to see the machinery beneath the smile, desire turning its eternal wheel, dragging man from craving to craving, from illusion to illusion. At first, you think the problem lies outside you. You think, perhaps I've simply met the wrong people, perhaps the right company will understand me. But soon, you realize it is not them who have changed. It is you. You have crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. The moment truth enters your mind, it begins to burn every illusion you once found comfort in. You try to return, to laugh as before, to find meaning in the small talk, the gossip, the hopes that once warmed you, but they no longer fit. It feels as though you're watching life through glass, detached, distant, quietly observing a theater you no longer wish to perform in. You see, the awakening is not glorious. It is not the triumphant enlightenment that poets promise. It is heavy, like losing the ability to dream, because illusion, though false, was warm. It connected you to others. Truth, by contrast, isolates. It strips you naked before existence, and there you stand alone, without comfort, without lie. And yet, this is where the real journey begins. For most men, reality is too sharp to look at. They dull it with distraction, intoxication, or the endless noise of ambition. But once you see clearly, you can no longer pretend. You carry what I have called the burden of consciousness. It is not something to be admired. It is something to be survived. Because from that day on, you will never again be able to live as they do. You will smile at the same jokes, sit at the same tables, but a part of you will always remain elsewhere, watching, knowing, quietly mourning the comfort of not knowing. You see, once the veil begins to lift, it never settles again. What was once your world, familiar faces, familiar laughter, familiar love, begins to feel foreign, like a language you no longer speak. You look around and realize that people are not truly living, they are performing, their smiles rehearsed, their opinions borrowed, their joy artificial, and you, cursed or blessed, have become conscious enough to notice it. The moment you start seeing instead of merely looking, you are already alone, because most of humanity does not want truth, it wants comfort. It clings to illusion, the way a drowning man clings to a piece of driftwood. They call it hope, love, ambition. I call it what it is, the refusal to face reality. And you have begun to face it. At first you try to share your realizations. You speak of depth, of the shallowness of pleasure, of how people chase shadows thinking they are treasures. But the more you speak, the more alien you sound. They laugh politely, their eyes glaze over, and the distance between you widens into silence. Eventually, you stop explaining. You withdraw, not out of arrogance but out of exhaustion, because nothing is more tiring than trying to wake those who wish to sleep. And so begins the quiet despair, the loneliness that does not come from being without people, but from being unseen among them. You sit in a room full of noise and still feel the weight of emptiness pressing against your chest. You envy their ignorance, their ability to lose themselves in trivialities. You wish just for a moment you could return to that warm blindness, but you cannot unsee what you have seen. You cannot unknow what you know. This is the burden of consciousness. It is not a gift. It is a wound that never closes, only deepens with understanding. Yet in that wound lies your proof of life, for the capacity to feel such isolation is itself the mark of an awakened soul. Few will understand you, fewer still will walk beside you, but perhaps that is the price of seeing too clearly. And in that silence, my friend, you begin to realize you were never meant to belong among the sleeping. You see, the danger of awakening does not lie merely in loneliness, it lies in how society reacts to the awakened. When you begin to see clearly, when illusion no longer deceives you, you become a threat. Not because you intend harm, but because your very clarity exposes the false foundations upon which others have built their comfort. And people hate that. They hate the mirror that shows them their mask. They call it arrogance, madness, or even evil, anything to protect their cherished delusions. You begin to realize most friendships, most relationships, even most moral values are held together not by truth, but by shared illusions. We agree to pretend, to call vanity ambition, lust, love, conformity virtue. But once you stop pretending, once you begin to speak from clarity instead of comfort, they withdraw from you, or worse, they turn on you. And anyone who dares to wake others from it becomes a heretic. Think of Socrates, who questioned too deeply and was made to drink poison. Think of Christ, who spoke of inner truth and was nailed to a cross. Think of Nietzsche, who gazed into the abyss and was declared insane. Men who saw too clearly have always been punished by those who live comfortably within the fog. The masses want obedience, not insight. They crave entertainment, not understanding. They despise anyone who reminds them of their inner emptiness. So you must learn, if you are wise, to walk among them carefully. Hide your depth as one hides a candle in the wind. Not every truth is meant to be spoken aloud, for truth, to the ignorant, sounds like an insult. The wise man must cloak his vision with silence, lest the blind accuse him of blindness. The more you evolve, the more invisible you must become. To reveal too much of your clarity is to invite their hostility, their mockery, their fear. It is not cowardice to be silent, it is self-preservation. Because those who see through the illusion of the world must learn to live among those who still worship it without expecting them to understand, without needing them to approve. They will call your detachment coldness, your insight arrogance, your independence pride, but you will know the truth. You have simply seen too much to kneel before the shadows they call light. That is the social danger of awakening. You become a stranger in your own civilization. Tell me, do you know what it means to be torn in two, to long for connection, yet recoil from it the moment it arrives? That is the curse of the awakened man. Even the wisest soul still hungers for warmth. He wishes at times for a hand that understands his silence, for eyes that recognize his depth. But the moment he steps among the ordinary, he feels suffocated, surrounded by noise, vanity, and shallow pursuits. The heart reaches out, but the intellect pulls it back. It says, they will not understand you, and their misunderstanding will hurt more than their absence. You see, man is a social creature, only as long as he remains asleep. Illusion binds people together, shared hopes, shared lies, shared ignorance. But once you awaken, you lose that invisible thread. You begin to see that most conversations are merely the exchange of egos, most relationships a trade of needs, and most love a disguised form of desire. You no longer seek attention, but understanding, and that is the rarest currency on this earth. So you find yourself caught in a cruel paradox. You crave company, yet solitude is your only peace. You long for love, yet truth makes you unlovable. You wish to belong, yet every group feels like a cage. It is a curse, I once wrote, to crave company when solitude is your only peace, and perhaps you've felt it too, the ache of wanting someone who can meet you beyond words, but finding only echoes of the self you have outgrown. The intelligent man loses what the simple man enjoys, the comfort of instinct. The fool can love without thought, hate without reason, and laugh without meaning. The wise man, however, sees through every motive, every mask, every illusion, and this vision poisons his peace. He cannot surrender to the moment because he sees its futility. He cannot fall blindly in love because he perceives the machinery behind the passion, the will to reproduce, the game of power, the hunger for validation. Awareness robs him of innocence, and yet he would never trade it back. For to return to ignorance would be to renounce his very self, the self that now stands apart, trembling but awake. This is the inner war of the conscious man, one side longing to dissolve into the warmth of human illusion, the other standing guard over truth, refusing to kneel before it again. You live between these two worlds, the world of men and the world of insight, and the bridge between them is pain. But remember this, pain is not punishment, it is purification. It burns away what is false until only the essential remains. Yes, you will always feel this conflict within you. But if you endure it, if you refuse to descend back into blindness, you will find that even pain, when understood, becomes peace. There comes a moment after all the noise has faded, after every voice that once surrounded you has grown distant, when silence becomes your last companion, and at first it terrifies you. You mistake it for emptiness. You believe you've lost everything that made life bearable. But then, slowly, something begins to shift. You begin to notice that in this silence, you can finally hear yourself. Not the self that pleases others, not the self that performs, adapts or obeys, but the self that simply is. Solitude, my friend, is not loneliness. It is the laboratory of the soul. It is where illusion dies and where truth is born quietly, without applause. When you are alone, no one is there to mirror your false image back to you. No one to praise or condemn, no one to demand that you play their game. In solitude, the masks fall, and you meet the only person who truly matters, yourself. Most people fear solitude because they fear themselves. They've built their identity upon distraction, upon noise, attention, validation. But once all that is gone, they discover there is nothing. An inner void they've never dared to confront. And so they run back to society, back to illusion, back to comfort. But you, the one who endures this silence, you begin to see differently. You realize that peace was never found in people, nor in pleasure, nor in possession. It was buried beneath the noise all along. Solitude teaches you a brutal truth. You need far less than you think. You can live without admiration. You can live without being understood. You can even live without love, as long as you have meaning. When I said that the wise man must walk alone, I did not mean he must hate mankind, but that he must not depend on it. To depend is to chain your soul to the moods of others. To stand alone is to reclaim your freedom. The world will call you detached, cold, arrogant, but they do not understand what they mistake for arrogance is merely independence. You no longer beg for belonging because you belong to yourself. You no longer chase happiness because you have outgrown its childish disguise. Solitude becomes not a prison but a sanctuary. You begin to see beauty in simple things, in the rhythm of rain, the sound of wind, the quiet movement of thought. You no longer crave to be seen because you finally see. It is strange, isn't it? The very thing you once feared, being alone, becomes the only place where you feel truly alive. Understand this. Isolation does not mean emptiness. It means space. Space for truth to breathe, for the mind to expand, for the soul to remember what it is beyond this human theater. And once you have tasted that stillness, the world can never tempt you in the same way again. Pleasures lose their power, opinions lose their weight, and the chaos of others no longer invades your peace. So, do not pity your solitude, revere it. It is the crucible where the ordinary self dissolves, and the higher self, the one untouched by illusion, finally awakens. Yes, it is lonely. Yes, it is quiet. But in that quiet, you will find something far greater than comfort. You will find clarity. And clarity, my friend, is freedom. You see, after enough solitude, something unexpected begins to happen. The pain that once felt unbearable begins to quiet. The noise of the world, its demands, its dramas, its desperate pursuit of pleasure, no longer stirs your heart. and what once felt like exile starts to resemble freedom. This is the transformation few ever reach, because most flee before the silence blooms. But those who stay, those who endure the burning of isolation, they are reborn. You begin to see that the same clarity that separated you from others now connects you to something far greater, to existence itself. You no longer seek meaning in life, you begin to see through it. You recognize that all striving, all the endless will, ambition, desire, is nothing but the machinery of suffering turning endlessly upon itself. And when you see this clearly, truly clearly, your desire begins to die, and with it, your torment. This, my friend, is not despair, it is deliverance. The man who no longer needs the world is the only one free from it. He no longer dances to the strings of will and craving. He watches calmly as others rush from pleasure to pleasure, never realizing they are running from pain. It is here that your suffering transforms from chaos to clarity, from restlessness to repose. The very pain that once isolated you becomes your teacher. It cleanses you of illusion, forces you to stand naked before truth, and that nakedness is freedom. You have lost your illusions, yes, but in their place, you have gained sight. You have lost company, but you have found peace. You have lost desire, but gained dominion over yourself. Is that not a fair exchange? The world worships pleasure, but the wise man has seen its trick. Pleasure promises satisfaction, yet its fulfillment always plants the seed of new longing. The ignorant call this living, the wise call it the will to suffer. And when you finally see through this will, when you see it operating beneath every passion, every ambition, every romance, something inside you breaks. The chain snaps, the endless pursuit halts, and in that stillness, for the first time in your existence, you are free. Now you understand why solitude was necessary. The noise of the world had to fall silent for truth to speak. Isolation was not punishment, it was purification. It stripped you of the unnecessary until only the essential remained. You are no longer a creature of craving, but a witness to craving. You no longer live through desire, but through awareness. And awareness, once awakened, cannot be undone. The transformation is not loud nor glorious. It is quiet, so quiet that only the honest can hear it. It is the death of who you were, and the birth of who you must become, a being no longer enslaved by the illusions of the crowd. Do not mistake this freedom for joy. It is something far deeper. Joy depends on the world. Freedom exists beyond it. It is the peace of one who has ceased to chase shadows, the calm of one who has made peace with reality as it is. You will still walk among men, yes, but you will walk differently, detached yet compassionate, alone yet untroubled. You will understand their struggles, but you will no longer be bound by them. This is the paradox of awakening. You transcend the world, not by leaving it, but by seeing through it and smiling quietly at the futility of its dance. So when you look back upon your suffering, your loneliness, your detachment, do not curse them. They were the flames that burned away your false self. Without them, you would still be asleep, still begging the world to give you what it never could. Now you are awake, and though you walk alone, you walk freely. You see, the danger of outgrowing everyone is not that you will be alone, but that you will finally understand why you always were. When a man awakens, he does not ascend into the heavens. He simply steps out of the dream. He looks around and realizes that the world he once loved, the people he once envied, the passions he once chased, were all fragments of illusion. He stands apart, not because he despises others, but because he no longer believes in what they believe. Their gods no longer speak to him, their pleasures no longer move him, their fears no longer control him. And so, he walks alone, not as a victim, but as one liberated. This, my friend, is freedom in exile. You are banished from illusion, but you have entered the kingdom of truth. Yes, you will miss the warmth of belonging, the comfort of ignorance, the simplicity of yesterday. There will be nights when solitude feels like a wound that never heals, but you will also feel something that those who sleep never will, the stillness of a soul no longer enslaved by the will. The wise man, I have said, must walk alone, but he does not walk in vain. Every step he takes away from illusion brings him closer to peace. He no longer demands from the world what it cannot give: happiness, permanence, love without loss, life without pain. He accepts existence as it is, raw, fleeting, indifferent, and in that acceptance, he transcends it. When you no longer resist reality, it can no longer wound you. When you cease to demand meaning from chaos, you begin to see beauty in its indifference, and when you stop asking the world to make you whole, you realize you were never meant to be completed by it. The irony, of course, is that those who live in illusion call this detachment misery, but misery belongs to those who still chase shadows, not to the man who has stopped running. The awakened man may seem cold, distant, unreachable, but that is only because he has cooled the fever of desire that consumes the rest of mankind. He feels no need to impress, to prove, to belong. He no longer trades his peace for company, nor his clarity for comfort. He watches life unfold as one might watch a play, knowing it is fiction, yet still appreciating the art. So remember this: the world will never celebrate your awakening. It will call you cynical, arrogant, detached, for you have withdrawn your belief from its illusions. But you must not return to sleep for the sake of acceptance. The cost of truth is loneliness, yes, but the reward is freedom, and freedom, true freedom, is the rarest gift a man can possess. It is not given by society, not earned through success, not found in love or faith. It is born when you no longer need anything outside yourself to feel complete. The more clearly you see, the less you can belong, but the more deeply you can exist. This is the final paradox: to lose everything unreal and gain everything essential, to walk alone, yet finally arrive, to stand in exile, yet feel at home in eternity. So when you find yourself alone, truly alone, do not despair. You are not lost, you are free. For the man who has outgrown illusion walks in exile, yes, but he walks with truth as his only companion, and truth, though cold, never lies. To be free is to be alone, and to be alone is to be beyond the reach of the world's illusions. That is the burden of consciousness, and the beauty of it,